the girl saw a missing person notice. The lost little girl was named Hueji, and surprisingly, her own name was exactly the same as the little girl's. The person who posted the notice was an elderly grandmother named Jichuan. Her granddaughter had gone missing 12 years ago, and all these years, she had been searching for Hueji. A real estate agent came to persuade her to sell the house, but she refused every time. Neighbors, seeing her old age, often tried to convince her, but the grandmother would say, "If I sell this house, my Hueji won't be able to find her way home." Perhaps her persistence moved God, because on this day, she finally got news about Hueji. The staff told the grandmother that Hueji had been secretly taken away by her mother, and her mother later died in a car accident. Her stepfather didn't want to raise Hueji, so he sent her to an orphanage. After completing all the procedures, the grandmother finally met Hueji, who had been separated for 12 years. Hueji was still wearing the blue and red bracelet on her wrist. The grandmother reached out to touch Hueji's face, thinking about how Hueji had lived as an orphan all these years, and tears instantly welled up in her eyes. But Hueji didn't seem happy, because the grandmother always kept her hand on her. Moreover, she was not used to the toilet, which didn't even have a trace of light. Suddenly, the toilet door was opened. It turned out that the grandmother had brought a lamp. Gradually, Hueji grew to like this kind of life. She began to take the initiative to care for the grandmother. Seeing the grandmother drying vegetables under the sun, she would apply her own sunscreen to the grandmother's face. When the grandmother went out to fish at sea, she would accompany her to go into the water. But one day, a man stopped her. He ordered Hueji to steal the grandmother's bank book, threatening to go to the grandmother himself if she refused. Hueji seemed to be afraid of the man approaching the grandmother, so after the grandmother fell asleep, she stole the bank book. She cried softly for a long time while lying in bed. Unable to face the grandmother anymore, she left this warm home after giving the money to the man. The neighbor also suddenly came to see the grandmother. He found out that Hueji and the grandmother had no blood relationship at all. Turned out that her real name was Anju. She was Hueji's half-sister from a different father and mother. Back then, her father, in order to defraud insurance money, had put Hueji's bracelet on Anju's wrist. From that moment on, Anju's identity became Hueji. A year later, Anju met the neighbor uncle. He told Anju that the grandmother had developed Alzheimer's disease and had been missing from the nursing home for a week. Anju went to the nursing home. The grandmother's room still had her photo pasted on the wall, and the grandmother's bag contained that missing person notice. Anju knew where the grandmother was. Sure enough, she found the grandmother at that market. She asked the grandmother where her shoes were, but the grandmother didn't answer. Instead, she told Hueji to pull her clothes tight and not to get lost again. So she returned to the grandmother's side again as Hueji. That night, Anju turned on the radio to listen to a broadcast, but instead it played a recording the grandmother had made when she was still lucid. Actually, the day I asked you those questions, I already knew you weren't Hueji, but in my eyes, you're still my granddaughter. Granddaughter, I've lived by the sea all my life, but you're still young and shouldn't end up like me. I've been lonely all my life, and now I'll die soon. How can I leave in peace knowing I'm leaving you behind?